JBN, we keep you informed. Cabby killed after reported road rage with colleague. A 24-year-old taxi operator is now in police custody following an alleged road rage that ended deadly in Papine, St. Andrew on Sunday. 53-year-old Delroy George Sinclair, also a taxi operator, was driving his car from Gordontown to Papine in St. Andrew when the suspect accused him of reckless driving. The police say Sinclair drove to Market Road in Papine and was trailed by the suspect who was known to him. An argument reportedly developed between the men, then a tussle. It is reported that 3 men then alighted from the suspect's car and proceeded to beat Sinclair, who is of Maryland District in St. Andrew. Sinclair was later seen bleeding and was rushed to the nearby University Hospital of the West Indies, where he died while undergoing treatment. The 24-year-old taxi operator was held and is now in the custody of the Halfway Tree Police. Dancehall artist stabbed to death during dispute. A St. Mary-based dancehall artist, Glamadon, was stabbed to death during a reported dispute with another man in Tremelsworth in the parish on Monday. Don, whose real name is Henry Winter, was a resident of Highgate in St. Mary. The details of the incident are sketchy, but it is understood that sometime after 1 p.m., Winter was involved in a dispute with a man with whom he had been engaged in a long-standing feud. Knives were reportedly drawn by both men, and the artist was subsequently stabbed. He was assisted to the hospital where he died. It is not clear if the other man was injured during the dispute or whether he has been arrested by the police. Glamadon was known for such singles as Don't Rush, My Life, and Think Smart. His most recent single, Traitor, was recorded last week. The artist was reportedly on his way to a recording studio in Highgate to record another track at the time of his death. Meanwhile, his death has sent shockwaves throughout the small rural town of Highgate, with several persons there expressing shock at the tragic incident on various social media platforms, including Facebook. Transport Authority lauds taxi operators for not responding to calls for strike. The Transport Authority is lauding public transport operators island-wide for their commitment to the people of Jamaica by continuing to provide services despite the call for strike action today by President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Edgerton Newman. Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Cecil Morgan, said the operators must be commended for considering the plight of the Jamaican people, even as they themselves grapple with similar challenges as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Morgan reiterated that the Transport Authority, through the Ministry of Transport and Mining, is committed to facilitating ongoing dialogue with public transportation stakeholders regarding the development of the sector. Newman recently issued an ultimatum on the government, declaring that operators would withdraw their service if a fare increase was not granted. In a statement this morning, the authority, while acknowledging the need to consider the plight of the public passenger vehicle operators, maintained that given the economic challenges experienced since the last fare adjustment, Jamaicans cannot bear the cost of a fare increase at this time, especially given the effects of the COVID-19 virus on earnings and income. Additionally, the authority indicated that Newman appears to have misrepresented the sector in his recent pronouncements, as the majority of route taxis associations are against his approach. 2 19-year-old men on robbery charges. 2 19-year-old men have been charged in connection with separate robberies in the St. Andrew Central Police Division. Charged with murder with aggravation are Nico Taylor, a janitor of Linders Road, and Dwight Lester of Arnett Gardens, Kingston 5. In the first incident, about 7 p.m. on Thursday, June 4, it is alleged that Taylor, who was armed with a knife, held up a woman while she was walking along Beechwood Avenue, Kingston 5, and robbed her of cash and other valuables. An investigation was launched and Taylor was subsequently arrested and placed on an identification parade where it was pointed out. He was then interviewed and formally charged on Friday, June 20. It is alleged that Lester also targeted a woman in the second incident about 12:50 p.m. The woman was reportedly exiting a motor vehicle on Crescent Road, Kingston 5, when she was pounced upon and robbed of cash and other items. A report was made to the police and an investigation carried out. following which Lester was arrested. He was also charged on Friday. PNP questions delay in signing U.S. MOU to tackle illicit gun shipments. People's National Party PNP spokesman on national security, Fitz Jackson, is demanding an explanation from the government on the delay in signing the Memorandum of Understanding MOU with the United States to stem the flow of contrabands, particularly guns and ammunition, into the country. Jackson, in a PNP statement this morning, said the process has taken the better part of 3 years, despite gun violence and the murder rate worsening in the country. He expressed that it is unbelievable that a program of assistance of this nature would have taken the government this long to conclude, especially in the environment of unabated murder and against the background of repeated calls from the U.S. to conclude the agreement. The opposition spokesman was responding to reports that the Jamaican government had delayed the signing of the MOU for 4 years. He argued that while the government deterred for 4 years, more and more innocent Jamaicans fell victims to gun violence. With the best of intentions, we have been unable to stop the flow of illegal guns and ammunition into the island. It is one of the reasons why our murder rate is so high, because our borders are porous, and if the MOU can help halt the flow of guns, we need to know why it was delayed, Jackson said. It is said that the proposed MOU agreement would allow U.S. intelligence and customs authorities to partner with local law enforcement to build cases against people involved in the shipment of contraband items into the island. Jackson reasoned that the U.S. is Jamaica's foremost trading partner and with whom several agreements already exist to address national security issues such as stemming the narcotics trade and intelligence sharing. Therefore, any assistance to be derived from the MOU to secure our ports of entry should be welcomed, he added. Until we have better particulars on this MOU, we can only ask for transparency. Illegal guns threaten the life of every Jamaican, and this kind of uncertainty does not guarantee security for anyone on the island, Jackson said. Angry residents of Elgin Town, Hanover, staged a massive protest over police shooting. Dozens of angry residents in Elgin Town, Hanover this morning mounted roadblocks along the main road in the community to protest the shooting of a man by the police on Friday. The protest resulted in a major traffic pileup. Roadblocks were erected along sections of the North Coast Highway from Montego Bay through to Lucy and Negril, with residents using large stones, tree trunks, furniture, and old tires as barriers. Residents claim that the 28-year-old man who remains on the police guard at the Falmouth Hospital is no wrongdoer and accused the police of excessive force. The police reported that shortly after 11 p.m. on Friday, they received a report that a number of men were at a wake at a yard in the community in breach of the nightly island-wide COVID-19 curfew. According to the police, on their arrival, the accused was seen with a gun and he was approached. He allegedly refused to hand over the weapon, and during a struggle, he was shot. The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing the incident. Agriculture Ministry reports sufficient food supplies in Jamaica. Despite a global economic slowdown due to COVID-19, Jamaica's distributive trade is reporting that food items are still in sufficient supply. State Minister in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries, Floyd Green, convened a virtual meeting with the distributive trade on Friday, June 19, where it was disclosed that sugar, flour, rice, and the vast majority of canned food that makes up the basic food items are in good stock. The distributive trade, which consists of representatives from all trade activities, also discussed the capacity of the industry in light of the hurricane season, which started on June 1. It is critical that the lines between the ministry and the distributive trade are open to be able to proactively treat with any issues that may arise in our supply chain, whether from a pandemic like COVID-19 or a hurricane. As such, we'll continue to dialogue with our stakeholders through the distributive trade and constantly check on stock levels and potential barriers to trade, said Green in a statement. It was indicated that there is 2 to 3 months of supply of chicken and 2 to 3 months supply of pork. During the meeting, manufacturers and major distributors reportedly indicated that for the last few months, despite the impact of the virus, they have managed to maintain or reduce the price for most product lines. The prices across the retail sector have not reflected these changes, and in fact, in a number of product lines, the CAC, Consumer Affairs Commission, has noted increased prices through its monthly surveys. This is cause for concern, and I'm encouraging retailers to reassess their pricing mechanisms in relation to these items, which includes chicken, Green said. Companies present at the meeting included Caribbean Broilers, Jamaica Broilers, Jamaica Flour Mills, T. Geddes Grant, and the Sugar Industry Authority. Meanwhile, the companies reportedly noted that there has been an increase in the price of sugar due to the rise in production costs by local manufacturers. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.